All right. Well, thank you for joining us this morning, everybody. Been a hell of a month, and I'm going to talk about that for a moment. But first, I want to mention that tonight we have the seventh of our budget town halls. We've done 6. They've been fantastic. We've been hearing people's priorities for their communities. Tonight will be virtual. You can get to it at the Anne Arundel County Executive Facebook page. District 5 with Councilwoman Fiedler. So we look forward to hearing from them as we get into the work of putting the budget together for FY23. Tomorrow I will be in Baltimore at the memorial service for the three firefighters that were lost there, as our firefighters are going to be working in Baltimore to keep all of their operations running while all of their firefighters are at the memorial service. So I will be there with our folks and mourning the loss of those heroes in Baltimore. January was a difficult month on the weather front and on the COVID front. We lost so far 109 county residents to COVID in the month of January. There may be additional numbers that come in that haven't been reported yet. Fortunately, the case rate is dropped and is down at 38. Hospitalizations are down below 100. We expect them to be getting back to their normal standards of care soon. The mask mandate that we put in effect ended yesterday, but we continue to have high rates. We continue to follow CDC recommendations and encourage people to wear masks when they cannot social distance, especially indoors in public places. We continue to have a mask mandate in county facilities, as does the governor in state facilities. So, but we're looking forward to these numbers continuing to come down and continuing the hard work of getting as many of our residents vaccinated as possible, so that we will be prepared for the next time there's a surge in cases from COVID. So we'll hear more from Dr. Kalyana in a moment on that. But I want to thank all of the employees of Anne Arundel County who have stepped up during 6 snow events in the month of January, 4 activations of our Office of Emergency Management. The folks at DPW did a lot of overtime this month. In fact, there were 8.5 days of response to these snow events. That's 40% increase in time worked. Not a lot of sleep for some of those folks. They plowed 9,000 miles of roads in the month. All of our staff responded to 1,700 emergency service requests, cleared trees on roads 266 times in the month of January, and the county spent an additional $2.67 million, which we get from our unappropriated fund balance to handle the response. We are in good shape on salt and brine, and we have been able to restore much of what has been used, and fairly close to capacity there. So we're okay for whatever the next months of the winter bring to us. But I want to recognize Chris Phipps, who's with us, head of DPW. Thank you for all of your work, Chris, as well as Preeti Emmerich, who's the head of our Office of Emergency Management. And when they activate, we are talking about police, fire, aging, health, Department of Social Services, and of course, Public Works in particular, taking these calls. Our volunteers, our CERT volunteers, as well as the folks that come in and take calls at the Office of Emergency Management. So we have a great team, and they have certainly gotten good at responding to emergencies, and we're there for whatever comes next. So thank you, all of you. And then the last thing I want to talk about is a resolution that is going to be considered by our county council this Monday evening. And this is possibly the most important reform to take place during my administration. It gets at what I have always said is the most important part of government, which is community engagement, makes it possible for the regular everyday person to engage residents and run for office so that we can select our leaders in a way that does not depend on large campaign contributions. So we have a campaign finance reform resolution coming before the council to create a public finance system for campaigns. So this would be a voluntary system that a candidate could opt into to get some public funds to supplement the private money that they raise. In order to get the public funds, that candidate has to limit the size of their contributions. So they would be all small donors. And to meet the threshold to be able to get public funds, they have to have engaged a lot of people and shown that they have broad-based support from contributors to be able to engage. This has been done in Baltimore County, Baltimore City, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, Howard County. They're in some stage of creating this process. It exists in state law for the governor's race. In fact, Governor Hogan was elected using the public finance option. And in Howard County right now, we have a former county executive running using the public finance option who actually opposed it when it was being proposed. So I believe there's broad consensus among both political parties in this state that having a public finance option makes our democracy work better and makes it possible for folks who don't have access to large donors and large, both corporate and private donors, to run for office and to win. So in order to get it onto the ballot, this is a resolution to put it onto the ballot for this next election. The county charter requires that there be 5 votes. So we hope that of our 7 council members, there will be at least 5 who vote for this on Monday. The council meeting's at 7. We will be holding an online forum at 6 to hear from folks about what this means to them in our county. And I very much hope that this bill passes. I have always believed that one of the most difficult things about running for office is certainly raising the money, and the way the system is set up, it gives undue influence to donors that have large amounts of money to contribute. So we look forward to that. So I will stop there, turn it over to Dr. Kalyanaraman for an update on COVID and where we stand there, and then we'll do questions.
Thank you, County Executive. So as the County Executive noted, we are doing better with COVID, significantly so. We're seeing that our hospitalizations are coming down below 100. They're between 90 and 100 right now, and they're continuing that downward trend, and that's really critical. We're seeing that our case rate is down to 38. Our percent positivity is coming down to 10%. And then in the past week, we have seen 28 deaths reported, which is still a high number. But we know that lags the cases and the hospitalizations. I think the bottom line is that we're doing better, but we're not quite there yet. We still have a high case rate. We still have a good number of people hospitalized, but we're heading towards that. And so we need folks to continue to do all the things they know they need to do, masking in public, get your shot, get your booster. We want to continue pushing vaccinations out to the public and making it convenient. We really are concerned that our 5 to 11-year-olds, we've kind of stalled out in terms of vaccination rates in the mid-40s. We want to continue to get those children vaccinated, both for them and for their families. And so we're going to continue to make that available in schools and other community locations. Pretty much most of the health department sites now can give any vaccine at any time. So please come out. You can sign up at aacounty.org/COVID-vax. We're also making sure that we're making masks available, KN95 and N95 masks at libraries and other community organizations, at-home tests. Those are great things, not just to use right now, but also to have in your medicine cabinet, particularly the tests if you need it. And want to note that just this week, Moderna got full approval for their vaccine. So they're now the second FDA-approved vaccine. They have the trade name SpikeVax, which should be very easy for folks to remember. So my last pitch is for flu shots. Hospitals are starting to see flu patients as the COVID volume goes down. It's important to remember flu is still out there, so you can get your flu vaccine as well. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Dr. Kalyanaraman. All right, we'll go over to questions. Again, name and media affiliation in the chat, and we'll call on folks in that order for questions. Not seeing any questions. Last call, any questions today? All right, thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you next week.